5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're live on YouTube, and I am going live on Facebook. 2, 3, 2, 1. Hello, hello, hello. I am Dan Salem live on BuzzChomp on YouTube, at the Dan Salem on Facebook live. Let me tweet this from BuzzChomp, and then I will retweet from my own at the Dan Salem at BuzzChomp on the Twitter, because Twitter is where it's at, especially for talking football. I'm going to try to keep things positive this week, although our New York Jets have made it quite the challenge, if I do say so. Alright, I'm Dan Salem, at the Dan Salem on Facebook Live, at the Dan Salem on Twitter. BuzzChomp over on YouTube, BUZZ, at BuzzChomp with 3 Z's on Twitter. Alright, we're talking New York Jets football. Week 6 action heading into Week 7 here of the NFL season. The Jets played Monday night. They lost to the Arizona Cardinals 28-3. Somehow things got worse. It's a bit inexplicable. I'm at a loss for words. My first main takeaway: the defense looked better, yet they played worse. They looked better because they were more aggressive. They were blitzing a lot. This looks like a defense to be reckoned with. And the secondary couldn't really stop them, but they were not the ones that gave up the big plays. We did give up one big play, which was a running play. We did give up 3 rushing touchdowns. So basically, our prior strength became the weakness that was exploited all game. So Arizona managed to turn our strength against us and just beat us that way. So how much of it is really a strength? I don't think it is very much a strength. So we gave up more points, gave up more rushing yards. We blitzed a lot, but didn't get any sacks. Didn't get to the quarterback. Maybe we had 1 sack. Whoop-de-doo. So they just ran it well on our defense. Gave up another big play. Although the defense looked better. It felt like a more formidable defense, even if it didn't perform like a more formidable defense. And then the penalties. Penalties were not unique to the defense. They also hit the offense. They also hit the Cardinals. Apparently this was not the game with the most penalties in the league, but it sure did feel like it. I suffered through and watched the whole thing for you guys, both audiences, but this was a painful football game. So many penalties and so bad for the Jets. I did not count the number of 3-and-outs, but it was pretty much every drive. The Jets' offense managed only 3 points, did not find the end zone. And it got worse. Ryan Fitzpatrick has lost all his mojo. He reminded us why he was fired from his last job after job after job. He's been on a lot of teams, and every single one of them has let him leave, not wanting to keep him around. Now, he is also very good, but for whatever reason, he's lost that it factor with the Jets that he had last year, and now I would just like to see him go away, because he's just not playing well. I'm not sure what it's going to take to get it back, but he's telegraphing every pass, which means he's staring down his receiver so the defense can just read his eyes and know where it's going, and he only really trusts Brandon Marshall. When the game was out of reach, they threw in Geno Smith, who honestly looked infinitely better. He was throwing the ball with confidence. There was real zip on it. That was getting to the receivers faster. He was hitting multiple different targets on routes and giving the receivers a chance to catch the ball. He was not telegraphing, and he was making the plays. He had to force it because it was 4th down and we were down by a ton. The game was over, and so he threw a pick. Big deal. Both of our quarterbacks have strengths and some weaknesses. But right now, only one of them's got the confidence, and that's Geno. Both of them should be playing for their next job. I mean, unless Fitzpatrick was on a 1-year deal. Geno's contract's up at the end of this year. You'd think they'd both be playing out of their minds, and yet, obviously, neither one of them has played well enough to be the New York Jets starter, but someone's got to start for this football team, so by default, it's a player. And we need a leader on offense. I don't know where the spark's going to come from. I don't know if Chan Gailey is going to last another week or two if they keep playing like this, because I do not like his play calling. It just stinks. It stinks. Okay, I mean, every time the Jets run, I know they're going to run, and so does the defense. And you know what they do? They run it right up the middle, and our line somehow is no longer good enough to make the blocks, and so we get a yard or nothing. We need to get a little bit more creative. We need to get our backs into space. Like, these are not the same running backs you had last season that are just going to pound it up through the tackles and barrel over people. These are fast, quick, darting guys, Bilal Powell, Matt Forte. They need space. You need to pull the guards to clear out, to get them a lane to run through, and then they're going to burst through it in game 15. I saw that against Buffalo, I thought, but I got to believe I was mistaken, because I've seen the exact same thing from him for 4 weeks in a row, and the exact same thing ain't working. He's not calling very innovative pass plays. There was one excellent time yesterday, last night's game, where we had passed the ball like 4 times in a row successfully, and I was like, all right, now's the time to call a draw. It was 3rd and 2, and even though it felt like the obvious situation, he called it. It was successful. We picked up the first. Otherwise, every other time he's calling a run feels like the wrong time. Yeah, I understand you running on first down. That's fine. But you can't just run the traditional smash it in your face team. We don't have the offensive line to knock people off the ball. It's just, we don't have it. It's not happening. So we need some new inventive play calling. And I mean, my prediction is that Chan Gailey gets fired after the season. I just have a feeling Todd Bowles is going to get another year. He's not doing a bad job. He's not doing a great job. He's trying to make it work with the defense. He's trying to get more involved with the offense. But he's a defensive guy, and he needs an offensive coach he can trust. And right now, the offensive coach is not pulling his weight. So Gailey's going to be one of the early, scapegoat sacrifices. I mean, the Bills fired their offensive coordinator and have rattled off 4 straight wins. I'm not saying that's going to happen to the Jets. They have not been a team known to fire coaches mid-season, but I have a feeling Gailey does not survive the year. It's just my personal opinion. Fitzpatrick, we're not bringing him back. I mean, Geno, they don't seem to be wanting to give him an opportunity, so we're not going to bring him back. I think Geno deserves an opportunity right now because Fitzpatrick doesn't have it, but I also think that overall Fitzpatrick is a smarter, more seasoned football player. He's got the veteran years on him, so if it was apples and apples under normal circumstances, I would go with Fitzpatrick. That's why he started the year. That's why I was thrilled he played last year. But now, he's lost it. He's lost that it thing that he had before. He's got nothing. Geno's got everything to prove and really wants to. He's itching. He's firing at the mouth. Let him go for it. I mean, seriously, what do we have to lose? I don't know why you stand by this guy. I mean, sure, you paid him more money. You don't want to look foolish. I mean, that's a stupid reason. We're already a bad football team. Okay. Back to Forte. Questions? No, go back to questions. Back to Forte. He's been non-existent. I mean, he didn't lose a step, but the play calling, that's why, all right, I said play calling. It's just, I know our offensive line is just falling apart a little bit, but what happened? Like, I know everything we're going to do on offense, and I know that it's not going to work because the defense knows it, and they're smart enough to know it. Next week we get Baltimore, who has been very stingy, not giving up many stuff on their defense either. I think against Baltimore, we're going to lose again, even if we're at home. I mean, we can stop them. They're not a good offensive football team. They're blatantly average, boringly so, and our defense can shut them down. But we are causing 0 turnovers on defense, disrupting the quarterback next to none. So basically our defensive approach is make them do a 3 and out, which is great if your offense can do anything at all. But we got to change it up somehow, otherwise Baltimore's going to stop us too. Now, this brings me back to what I wrote earlier today. Geno Smith's given us a bit of deja vu, and where do fans go from here? Okay, I'll continue mercifully. Where do fans go from here? Well, as a smart fan, I would like our team, who is not going to make the playoffs, barring a miraculous comeback that is once in a generation, yet the Chiefs almost pretty much did it last year, starting 0-4 or 1-5, and so 2 years in a row is even more unlikely. But it's not out of the road. It's not impossible. But considering how bad our team looks, they are not a playoff team. So that means we want a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. There's definitely good quarterbacks coming out. There are definitely star running backs coming out. Please don't pick more defense because we have enough of it, or pick a cornerback because we don't have any of those. There's a number of holes on this football team, and I really do like what Mike McCagnon, our GM, has done in the offseason with the talent he's drafted and the talent that he's brought into the team. He came in and we were building for the future, yet he made us a competitive football team last year, and he attempted to build a competitive football team this year. It worked out great last year, the veterans. It did not work out this year. So our rookies this year, they look good, but they are not ready for prime time, okay? Our receivers are developing, so they're developing. Our defense, they're developing as well. I mean, hell, our linebacker, he started last night. Not Jenkins, blanking. What's his name? Darren Lee, sorry. He started last night. He's doing great, but he's still a rookie, okay? He's not ready to lead the offense. We have no secondary. We have old running backs, and we need to replenish the offensive line, and how we need a quarterback. So there are plenty of people that we could snatch in the top 5, top 10 of this NFL draft. We're at 1-5. The only team worse than us is the Cleveland Browns, 0-5. We know they're taking a quarterback. So if there are 2 quarterbacks that we like equally, then okay, we don't have to be worse than the Browns. But if we only like one, we have to be worse than the Browns to get them, or make a trade with Cleveland because they know they'll do it because they're badly and poorly run. So, as a fan, I don't want to think to April because the season is only week 7. But we need a good draft pick. We need to add more great rookie talent. Mike McCadden's been killing it. Our GM's been killing it. We need to add more rookie talent. So, while I want our team to win, I mean, because winning's fun and the season isn't over, 2 more losses and I'm rooting for us to lose every game. Like, you don't officially tank, but the Cowboys kind of tanked last year, and look what they got, Ezekiel Elliott at the top 10 of the draft. Who else tanked last year? 1 or 2 other teams unofficially tanked it, and they've cleaned up. Denver managed to get good players after winning the Super Bowl, okay? So we're on track for the future, but we got to survive this season, and it's freaking painful as hell. What's Fitzpatrick's future look like? Well, it's not with the Jets, and unless he shows some sort of turnaround, I don't see why any team would sign him next year. Maybe he'd be a backup somewhere, maybe. But there are a lot of other good players, like Tony Romo's going to be looking for a new job. Jay Cutler's probably going to be looking for a new job. RG3's going to be looking for a new job. Like, maybe Fitzpatrick gets to go back up in Miami, or, I mean, the Giants don't really have any backups, so they'll throw him on their bench probably. The Rams throw him on their bench because they'll have a rookie starting next year. Philadelphia could use another backup because they got a rookie starting. So there's teams that need backups. I mean, everyone needs a backup, but he's not going to be on the Jets. The Jets are going to need a backup because I don't see them keeping him or Geno. They don't want to keep Geno because he's from the old regime. I think it's time to forgive and forget and maybe give him another opportunity because he's got the fire, and Fitzpatrick lost the fire. So can this season be salvaged at all? That is the big question here. We only play 2 teams. We only have 2 games the rest of the season against a playoff team from last year, and both of them are the New England Patriots. They were going to be on our schedule anyways. Now, granted, Buffalo's looking pretty good, and I think that Baltimore looks okay. We got them this coming week. Nobody else on the rest of the schedule is particularly formidable. We've already beaten the Bills. So, there's I don't remember the figure of speech expression, shooter's chance and a something of and crap, whatever. But there's an outside chance that we could end up with a winning record because we're at 1-5. So we go, we go 8-2, and that'd be a freaking miracle. But it's not out of the question considering if those 2 losses are just to the Patriots. No one's going to be shocked. And if we beat the rest of the teams, no one's going to be shocked. We beat the Browns, we beat the 49ers, we beat the Ravens, who are 3-3 and falling fast. They barely can score any points. We beat the Bills again. We already crushed them. We beat Miami twice, who also sucks. Those are not surprising victories, except for the fact that the Jets just look pitiful. I gotta believe something's gonna change, unless we're just gonna honestly just say, oh, whatever, throw in the towel, tank this season. And that could happen. No one's gonna actually admit it, but it could happen. Next week, I will get into who's enticing atop the 2017 draft and whether or not we really should tank, depending on what happens on Sunday. If we get a victory, I will table that talk until the season is out of reach. It's not officially out of reach, even though it feels that way. I understand it feels that way. Decker is on IR. Apparently, he got hip surgery today, and once he's off those crutches, he's going to get shoulder surgery. I guess he decided just to double it up. Why the hell not? Man, does our offense miss him. Whoever quarterbacks the Jets next year is going to have him and Brandon Marshall and our 3 rookies. Oh, that's a sweet bevy of 5 killer receivers. But how about we get a tight end into the mix? How about this year we go double tights and get an extra 2 blockers for our frickin' running game? Why are we running the ball with no tight ends? Obviously, our offensive line is overmatched. They can't block everybody. There's not enough people. Bring the tight ends in. Let them block for the running back. Let them do it. That's like a key. Hit the end. Pisses me off. Like I make a couple of obvious changes, and I feel like it benefit our personnel tremendously. Chan Gailey seems to be stubborn. I don't get it. He's paid a lot of money to do this job, and he's not doing it particularly well. So I said it last week that Arizona was vulnerable. Perhaps they've actually officially rebounded because everyone thought them a playoff team, and now they're 3-3. So they weren't nearly as vulnerable as we thought, and they were home. Baltimore is certainly vulnerable, and the Jets will get them at home. Ravens, after barely winning their first 3 games, have barely lost their next 3. They just finished up a crap fest against the Giants, who are not a great football team. We'll get to that in a minute. And they lost to the Redskins and the Raiders. And they beat the Jaguars by 2. They barely beat the Browns by 5. This is not a good football team, but neither are the Jets. I'm not picking a winner. All I know is the Jets are home, and if that means anything, maybe we can win by 2. The line is basically even at Vegas, but rightfully so, because who the frick knows? Ooh, how about a noteworthy Todd Bowles comment from today? The Jets coach said it's definitely possible that Bryce Petty or Aaron Hackenberg could play at some point, but we still got some stages to go before we get to that point. Yeah, so basically, once we hit the 8-loss mark, those guys are coming in, and we got to see what they can do. But we're 3 away, and that's probably a good month because we are not losing most of these games coming up. They're bad teams are too bad, unless they kind of tank it. Now, if we play really, really shitty against, pardon my language, against Baltimore, then we're tanking. We're heading for a draft, and those guys are coming in. Right? Maybe they'll be after the bye week. I mean, it's possible we could wait till after the bye week. I just don't think we'll wait that long. That's another 4 games. The Browns, the Dolphins, the Rams. The Rams look okay. I would have said these were all winnable if I did before the season started. But what are you going to do? I mean, anything looks losable now with this Jets team. Okay. So Decker double surgery, but that means he'll be back and better than ever next year. So to win or not to win? I want us to win this week. I'm going to root for us to continue to win until we are numerically eliminated, because at 9-7, if we truly bounce back that much, this is awesome. Awesome. After the way this thing started, that would be awesome. And I would love that. And sure, it doesn't mean quite as high of a draft pick, but we can clean up in the 16 to 20 range just like we did last season, and I'm okay with it. It'd still probably be 10 or 12, and we could trade on up. We got assets to trade. We could trade on up. So I like that. I'd like that a lot. Fantasy talk. Let's cut the crap here. Only Brandon Marshall is a viable fantasy player. He's been scoring 7 to 12 points a week, depending on if he scores a touchdown. He got 7 last week with 70 yards. He did not quite hit the 100-yard mark. He'll hit the 100-yard mark against Baltimore. They're not good. Hopefully he finds the end zone. That gives him 17, 16 points. He's the only reliable fantasy player right now with Brandon Marshall. Only one. If you have to start Forte, sure, you're taking a chance. He's only been putting up 3 to 5 points a week. If he finds the end zone finally again, great. I wouldn't rely on him. I'm personally looking for a replacement on my team. If anybody wants to trade and you're watching, hit me up in our league. I'm doing great, but he has not been performing very well. So I don't trust anybody else. Dump them all. Trade them away if anybody really likes them, except for Marshall. Maybe you can trade them high now because who knows how the rest of the year will go. Around the New York sports world, the Giants won against Baltimore. Well, we know Eli Manning passing to Odell Beckham works. That's the only reason they won. 60-yard pass at the end of the game for a touchdown. That's how they won. The Giants are not good. I don't know if they're the worst team in the NFC East, but I don't think that they're a playoff team. There are a lot of good teams in the NFC. They could surprise me, but right now they don't look like a good team or a playoff team. They just happen to beat Baltimore, who's okay. And I think the Jets will happen to beat Baltimore, who's okay. But the Giants are better than the Jets right now, so I'll give you that. And the Yankees. Their two perennial closers that they traded away are crushing it in the postseason. I'll be writing about that on Friday on BuzzChomp because, wow, Andrew Miller on the Indians and Aroldis Chapman on the Cubs. Maybe meeting in the World Series, but dominating nonetheless. Fun stuff. All right. I'm going to cap it here at the 20-minute mark because it was a crappy game and a crappy week of football. Any questions from our Facebook Live audience or our YouTube audience? You both have been excellent here, allowing me to talk freely without interruption. Thank you both. All right, questions. I don't blame you for having none because the team sucked, and why do you want to hear someone blubber about a shitty team anyways? Because you like me and you like our channel, that's why, and because maybe you enjoy hearing swearing once in a while. Okay, I will be back next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific, talking New York Jets football. I don't see how it can get any worse. I feel like we've already hit rock bottom, but perhaps I'm mistaken and we'll learn a hard lesson on Sunday. I hope not. At the Dan Salem on Facebook Live, at the Dan Salem on Twitter, at BuzzChomp on Twitter with 3 Z's. Go over to YouTube, find the BuzzChomp channel with 2 Z's. I review a ton of crap. Going to a Halloween play this Sunday, loving Westworld, and reviewing every episode of that with my reactions. All of these broadcasts are stored on BuzzChomp on YouTube and at the Dan Salem on Facebook on my Facebook fan page official. Thank you guys for watching. You have been great. Once again, if you didn't quite catch that, I am Dan Salem at the Dan Salem. We're talking Jets football. It's only week 7. We got a lot more to go, so I will be here every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific for you. Thank you. And thank you.